Well, good morning. Today we're going to talk about some search engine optimization and just going to touch on some. We usually do two of these chats monthly because there's a lot to cover, and just like to touch on things. Obviously, the best thing is to have a one-on-one conversation, but we like to cover some just general topics in these get-togethers and start conversations and hopefully kind of demystify the process of SEO. So for everyone that doesn't know, my name's Jose Galvin. I work here and I enjoy doing tech stuff. There's me right there, and the rest of our team. And I don't have a veterinary background, definitely have a technical background, and enjoy working for Vin. I've been here now for about 9 years. The site that we're going to be using today is this one, and also my veterinarian site. They're kind of our guinea pigs. If you'd like for me to use your website or your practice, please just type it in the chat window when we are getting to that point. I'm also going to be recording today's session, so if anyone if there's something you miss or you get a phone call or text or something, you can always review it. We usually have these uploaded to our YouTube channel, which is available at youtube.com/Evetsites. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about here, and yes, here's the orientations from last week as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is just a general idea of SEO. A lot of people have different thoughts and different maybe different ideas as to what SEO is about. We hear a lot about keywords and about links and different things like that. SEO is short for search engine optimization, and it is just how your search results appear in, for example, just a search right here. So let's see. So when you type in a search term, you go to Google or Bing or Yahoo, and what we're talking about with SEO is the free search results. So if you can see these parts right here, these guys have ads. These different companies, they've paid for these listings to appear, and SEO is all about trying to get your website right here on the first page as high as possible for whatever search term you're doing. There's two main parts to SEO. We'll cover these today, and we'll just kind of touch on the different parts of it. The first part is on-site SEO, which is everything having to do with your website. So the content on your website, for example, here they name the communities that they're at. The way that the site is structured. Do we have links on these pages? And do the pages connect to sub-pages here? All of that ties into the things that are connected to the on-site, the actual mechanics of the web page. And so we'll be covering most of that today. The other half of it is called off-site SEO. And what that has to do, it has to do with your how the other pages link to you. It has a little bit to do with marketing. Does anybody want me to test their practice? If so, just type it in here. If not, I'll put in us for now. So part of yeah, here's some areas for me to improve. Oh, great, here we go. When you have a website, if you have other web pages that refer to it, that have incoming links. That's known as a referral. It's also kind of called an inbound link. Um, you'll also hear people discuss directory listings, which are kind of a big, whether you have a Yellow Pages or a Yelp or Facebook or whatever, these listings exist. So that's what these folks here, they offer a free tool here for us to go ahead and check. And we can get just a real ballpark figure as to whether or not we need to do some more work for the offsite SEO. And this has to do with taking control of these listings, making sure the listings are accurate. We sent out an email, I think it was last week, just about these local listings. So you may have seen this with these guys right here talking about the local listings. If you didn't get it and you'd like me to forward it to you, I can. Just let me know. And I know sometimes this stuff appears like in the spam listings, but this is a brief, it briefly touches on it. So for example, here we've got Gulf Gate Animal Clinic and Hospital, and here it's just Gulf Gate Animal Hospital. Probably the same place because we've got the same address and phone number. But since we've got different names, they can lead to confusion. So the offsite SEO is really all about making sure that you have consistent name, address, phone number, so that everything is copacetic and there's no confusion, and you can have this this listing kind of repeated across all these other different social networks, listings, and things like that. So if you'd like to get more, oh yeah, and look at this. Here's some listings that have the actual website. And then look at these. These take you away. They actually go to this other website, this localvets.com. So I'll go ahead. And send this one. And you can just bookmark that for now, but we can touch on that later. Either next week when I do the general one, or we can just set up a one-on-one on that one. Okay, so let's talk about with the actual search engines and how they list it. If you do a search, and since, well, let's hear, we'll do this one right now. So if I do a search for Sarasota, Florida, and veterinarian, this is the process that Google will do. And again, I'm using Google, but I mean like every search engine, because again, Bing is a huge one. A lot of this is incumbent on your location, your device. If you're using a mobile phone, or if you're using a computer, and things like that. So if I type in, well, look at this. Here's a Wikipedia entry, and here's some places that are near the office, because this is literally across the street. So location has a lot to do with it when you're first searching. Now, if you were to change it and you put in, well, then things become a little more to your liking. They're going to be a little more focused. So your location has something to do with that. I won't go into all the background of how this happens. Just know that when you hop online, they can find out, for example, who you're using for the internet, and then which part, what type of business connection it is, which general geographic it is, and other things like that to kind of pinpoint just in general where you are. So that said, if you are looking to rise up on, for example, this search here, which is something that people can type in to find it. Hey, look at this. Not bad at all. We're coming up number 2 right on here. And so what's happened is that at some point, Google has sent out its crawlers, bots, spiders. They're basically these little programs, very simple programs, powered by a lot of computers. Find a link, and then follow the links, look for content, make an inventory of it, and continue that process until they've nabbed a huge or a majority of the content on your website. All of the pages on your website contribute towards your SEO. If you have more content, that helps out. If you have more original content, that helps out. I know that when we send these sites out into the wild, a lot of time they have some pretty stock content. And then sometimes people will go ahead and change it. So like, this is fantastic. Here's a bunch of communities. I mean, it's telling people exactly what you do and where you do it. So this is great, because if somebody is doing a search for, this specific deal or any of these, you've got more of a chance to show up. This is a really basic SEO tip, but it's one that people forget, is that if you want to rank for something, it has to be on your site. And so sometimes I get a call where someone will say, hey, um, Burlingame is right across the street from me, but I'm in South Salito or whatever, and why can't I show up for it? I say, well, do you have it listed on your site? Well, no, but it's right nearby. Well, these programs are a lot like little kids. You have to be really specific with them and tell them, this is what we do, this is where we do it, and include those sorts of things. So this is great. This is a textbook example. You're telling people exactly what you do, where you do it, and you change the stock content that we've put on there. So there's, while there's no one magic bullet or anything, content is a huge part of it, and it's probably the most important thing. Again, when we send out our websites, a lot of times they come kind of prepackaged, and so this is great that you've got, again, these things listed in here, so they can show up. And each page that you've got on the site contributes to that. Now, you're not going to be able to put this little phrase here on every page. I mean, you can certainly try, but it'll be a little weird, maybe in here where you're talking about these different services, to say we do it in X, Y, and Z, right? So far, this website is great because you're telling people in the appropriate locations of the different communities. So, and communities are if you have, I have people ask all the time, well, can I use a nickname? Yeah, you certainly can. The Bay Area, people know that would be San Francisco, Oakland, or whatever. East Bay, that it's on this side of the San Francisco Bay. SACTO is a kind of a casual abbreviation for Sacramento. So people can do that as long as it's not anything that's off color, or things we said in mixed company. We can definitely use those sorts of terms for that. So for example, with these folks here, again, they've got a little list. This is kind of common practice. You're going to see this in most websites now, where people will talk about the different areas that they serve, and it's a great way to differentiate yourself. Every practice is unique. You're in a unique geographic location. You're not competing with veterinarians across the country. You're just trying to carve out your part of the world. So talk about it. If you have community involvement, if you have things that you do, I've seen where people talk, like in the bios, they can talk about different things, where they're born and raised in these different locations. I've seen pictures of like, Halloween's coming up, where people dress up the animals and have like these events for pets and kids. Anything involved with charity, sponsoring a little league team, all those things that tie you to a community are SEO goals, because they cement you as a local practice. This isn't to bash anyone that's working at. Oh, sorry about that. Let me see if this helps out. So the content that you've got on the website will help out. It's the very first thing that I would work on. It's not technical. If you know how to edit your page, you can certainly improve your SEO quite a bit by just changing the stock content that's on the site. Anyone have any questions about that portion of it? Okay, so we're going to dive into just a little bit of technical stuff, not too much. So everyone knows how to log into their website, I think. You click the key, you put in administrator, all lowercase, then your password. In this case, I'm already logged in. And so the next thing I want to talk about, I'll include a how-to on this one as well, is editing the content on the site. I haven't done it on these ones. So for example, actually, let's keep going. All right, maybe I will stay on this one because I got to get the password for the other one. Oh no, I've got it. Okay, great. Okay. So if you notice, oh right, looks like we've got some here. Every image that you've got should have some alt text. This is great. I'm enjoying this one right here. So thank you, Doctor, for having these images. When people do a search, everyone searches differently, and I don't know if you folks do. Oh yeah, we do boarding care. This is a great one. So see here how we've got this. The only advice that I would do differently on this is we don't want to do keyword stuffing. We really want to have it more of a conversational tone on there. These images here, what you can do is if you go to edit content, you can add text to every image on your website. And so you double click on this, you'll see here in the image description that you can add text for the particular image. So if you've got, for example, some staff members, well, there's no picture here. Oh, you got to fix these. All right, so this is great. So here, this tells person, so this right here, we know the name of the practice, Sarasota Animal Clinic, Gulfgate, Tara Roberts. You can also split it up like this, right? And if it's Gulfgate Animal Hospital, you may want to include the name of it in there. I've got a how-to on this particular topic. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat right now. Here's the, if you want to bookmark that one. And in general, these are the this is the the tip. So for, really short, you can split them up by dashes, or you can make like a short sentence. In general, it's going to be a really short snippet that kind of tells everyone, okay, is this better? I apologize. I don't know if there's something going on with my headset. Okay, can everyone hear me now? Okay, great. So two things. Now, number one, I wanna share yet another link here. Um, Google has some fantastic tools here, and in this particular one is right here. It's about images. And I'm not saying this to pick on, the one. You've got great content on these tags. We just want to make sure that they're as friendly as possible, so that it's more like a sentence and not, so that all the words that you've got become more of a conversational tone. So for example, here, and Google is just telling us, this is how you do it. So if they're really big about having the descriptions, adding data, and then like for the descriptive alt text, they're real specific. You can see here, puppy.jpg, and there's no text. And then this is the bad one where it says, just puppy, dog, puppers, puppies, doggies, whatever. And then the best one is Dalmatian puppy playing fetch, where it's a conversational tone, like we can see, Dr. Smith does uh, vaccinations, or we offer, XYZ clinic offers pet boarding. XYZ clinic in town offers Y, where Y is a service of some sort. So if you want to bookmark those two, these are all great resources. I mean, it's funny because sometimes people think, oh, there's a lot of SEO secrets. Well, Google pretty much tells you exactly what it is that they want. And really, I mean, some of these things are a little under the hood. We can worry about that. But there's a lot of things that are really about content. So for example, duplicate content. Here's one right here where they're telling people, don't use like a big block of content that people use on another page. That's why it's important to have it set up that way. Even using a little punctuation, will help out. So it's not just a big block of text. And what you're going to do is you're going to make it easier for people to find relevant info. We'll have to fix this one. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just going to add this to my to-do list here. But we've got great content on here, so this is fantastic. Okay, so we've done some of the images. I want to talk now a little bit about the actual construction of the site. So if you, like I mentioned earlier, Google comes by using these bots, and what they'll do is they'll follow a link, um, and and then if there is a link on that page, it'll follow it. Hey, here's something where something went wrong. Continue to find out more about ours. So I'm assuming this is probably about us or something. So what we'll do, so it's going to be our staff. So it looks like somebody changed the slug on there. And when you change the slug, you change the link. So let's go ahead and save that. All right, so now it's working. I'm going to test the rest of these links. That one's working all right. Okay, same link. All right, so here's a tip. If you've got a website and you've got a link to like the online store or a pet portal or anything like that, it's always a good idea to have the link open in another window. That way you don't lose um, the, the visitor. So in this case, we've got this link. And so again, I'm going to edit content, clicking the link button. You notice down here, there's a target tab. Select new window. And if you have one of those, also select no follow. I won't get too far into this. Just know that this affects your SEO. It's okay to, the rule of thumb is if it's within your own site, you can follow. If it's pointing to another site, Nike.com, AHA, um, Purina, whatever, go ahead and do the no follow and also do the new window. This way people don't leave you. Because otherwise, if they do that, they click on it, now it opens in another window, they can still come back to the website. You see how it opens up in another tab? They can still do everything they need to do, buy the medicine, buy the treatment or whatever. But then this way they can return to the site and figure out what they have to do. So one of the things I like to stress on now, and this is kind of funny because we've gone kind of full circle. If you're on a you're on a computer, you probably use navigation. So you hover over, you click on the web, whatever. Oh, hold on, let me answer this question first. Is medical library considered other site or our site? So this is kind of a little bit of both. So the content that you've got here is read from Google. Google reads this. The stuff that's in here, it views as it's on another site because this is actually part of Veterinary Partner. So if I go ahead and do a search for this particular page, I'm not even finding it. So it's gone ahead and it's found this information, but it's not. Let me try something else. The way that this page is set up, see how it like disappeared for a second. The way that this page is set up is um, to it's pulling in information from another site. It's called an iframe, and so that is going to just it doesn't really factor into the SEO on your page, even though your clients can use it in the to great benefit. This right here, however, will all this content up here will be picked from them. Another question: how do you set up the link that you were talking about in the window and where do you follow? Okay, well, I'll go ahead and do that one again. So if you've got a page with a link, go to edit content. Here's one that looks like. Click the link button. Rel is no follow. Target is new window. I'm going to save your work. why? I don't think I understand the question. You want to set up a link that you were new Windows Retinal for the library page? Well, you really can't because this is kind of a widget that's built into the veterinary partner. Um, so this is one case where we can't really do that. This isn't. This is kind of embedded into the structure of the page itself. If I go to Edit Special, we're only changing features within the interface. I can't really change the links to that on there. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Um, and so the bigger picture of the links is that they're, you know, again, if you're on a mobile, if you're on a computer, you're using navigation. You can click on these things and go around. If you're on a mobile device, your page, because all our pages are mobile friendly, defaults to the hamburger, which is these three lines up here that everyone is used to using. So if you do it this way, this is when these links become really important. Because then what happens is that the folks that are on your site can then just click on the different links and get to the different pages within it, right? So if I tap this with my thumb, go in there, we get to the different content. You could also go up here and tap this, go to services, and go to boarding. But that's, you know, that's 3 clicks versus 1. You always want to make it as easy as possible for people to get from one part of the website to another. And the reason and the way to do that is just making sure that the page is laid out in a format where the top level pages link to the pages that are underneath them. So for example, here we've got About Us. And here are some links. So this is a textbook example. This is fantastic setup. This way, if there is a link to the About Us on the home page, they can go ahead and do that. So here's the staff. Here's frequently asked questions. I'm not sure if there's an About Us page, but if Google finds the About Us, they'll then be able to click on the doctors and get to all the different pages there. Also great to see that after this, you're directing someone to the end page, because this is, you know, you're not selling anything here, but I'll show you some guys that are. So here's a website that takes away a lot of our money, willingly, right? So here's a lot of different options, and here's the focus. Not a value judgment. I think it's fantastic. They've got it laid out right. You know, we read left to right. Here's the checkout. Right? You can click on this thing. I'm going to take a couple of clicks, and you're ready to part with your money. Now, on most websites that are veterinary practices, and even some of the ones that are you know, specialty sites or maybe a consultancy or anything like that, the end result is that you want somebody to reach out and contact you. So here, by directing people to this Contact Us page, you're doing just that. And it's a good idea, you know, if you've got a page and it's not going anywhere else, to at the very least include at the bottom a link to the Contact Us page. That's your end goal, right? That's your equivalent of the checkout, of the shopping cart, of the, you know, whatever it takes. I understand that you've got the information here, but if you have that link, you're kind of guiding them along to where they need to go. So on your pages, so for example, the surgery page. Oh, sorry. So here's a link that is not working. Let's go ahead and fix that. Got a feeling that this one got its slug changed as well. Yeah, so here's surgery, anesthesia, FAQs. And it got moved to vet, Sarasota, animal hospital clinic, veterinary Gulf Gate services, surgery, anesthesia.pml. So we have to go ahead and edit that to change it. Now it'll work. All right, we're going to talk about that in just a second. But yes, if you have links, make sure that the top level links, so in other words, like this contact us one, you should have some feedback for the FAQs. Basically, why does what change? The links? The links were definitely changed. Somebody was working on this page and changed the slugs. So I'm going to talk about slugs now. So let me, I'll put this in here for reference. Don't click on that afterwards. But so here is a, and again, we can do a, so when you do a search, you're going to get 3 components on every result. You're going to get this long blue line, which is called the title. You're going to get this long green thing that's called the slug. And then you're going to have this black writing down here. This is called the meta description. So you've heard people talk about meta tags. Well, the keyword meta tag has been retired. It died off in relevance several years ago. But the meta tag description is still in use. So these 3 fields here are all things that you can edit yourself. And I will show you how you can do that. If you go to your website and you're logged in, go ahead and click on Edit Menu. Oh boy. Okay, so there's a lot of so here is, I'm going to finish this down a little bit. All right, so you probably wondered, well, where does this stuff come from? Well, maybe you haven't wondered. I always thought that was kind of cool when I first found this out. So here, you look over here in the title, right? This is it right here. Here's the slug. Since it's just the home page, it's just that by itself. And then here is the meta description. Now this is a meta description. The meta description on this particular page has a lot of great content. But again, like the image tags, I would make it a little more people-friendly so that it's more conversational. And here's why. If you notice right here, it says Vet Hospital, Gulf Gate Veterinary Clinic, Animal Medical, Palmer Bench. It seems a little spammy. On the other hand, look at this one. Blue Pearl's Advanced 24-Hour Veterinary Clinic offers state-of-the-art specialty in emergency veterinary care for animals. This is English. This is actually, conversational English, and it's the way that humans speak. I mean, if I were to begin this orientation and just start saying relevance, keywords, meta description, tags, alt, you'd be like, well, who is this guy? What's this about? And so if we can even crank out one sentence out of this, like Sarasota vet serving A, B, and C or something like that, that'd be great. What this is supposed to be is a short summation of the content that's on the website. So, whatever you put in here should be on that page. So since these, so Palmer Ranch is there, Siesta Key, since these different locations are there, that's great. Google wants it to be relevant. It wants it to match. And so what we want to do then is ensure that everything is hunky dory. Let me do a search really quick here. Here's a cool trick. If you want to know what your site looks like, and I will answer your question in just a second. I just want to get this out of the way first. So if you type in site : www.yourdomainname.com, just like it is here, you'll see how Google has your site listed. So the calendar has a short slug. These other ones have really long titles. Some of these have, some conversational text. Some of these are just, it looks like just like a listing of different things told. If you have more than 60 letters, it's bad. Yeah, basically, you want to get up to 60 and that's it. Because if you notice, this cuts off after a while. You see the ellipsis right here? You've got about, in general, approximately 60 characters. It's not bad to go over a couple. It's not, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to be punished by Google, but nobody's going to read it. And so you have to just kind of remember that. And so if you've got more that are like, for example, home, you honestly don't need that. So we can save this. I would put whatever is the most important at the beginning, right? So that's the big thing. Calendar, Gulf Gate Animal Hospital. Here, this is great. This one kind of tells you a little bit about where it is. I'm assuming that Sarasota is Florida. I might put Sarasota, FL. Here, I would definitely put something to let people know. So where is the calendar? Oh, so the calendar is hidden, it looks like. Other features. Ideally, it would say something like this. So this tells people what the page is about, who it is, and where it is. And in that link, I kind of touch on this a little bit. But these are things that'll help you. Sorry, okay. Got so many windows open here. So, and you can do a quick. You can do the site : and then the site of the domain, and you can get this information about all these different pages that you've got. And so again, see, this is pretty good. There's a lot of content here. I still would go ahead and put in Sarasota, Florida, just to ensure that that's where it is, so that we've got the correct information there. Okay, so Dr. Cole had a question about why does it change if we don't change it? Okay, well, at some point somebody must have changed it, because we don't go in and change these things. It looks like somebody at some point edited these slugs, because these are really long slugs in here now. They've got a whole bunch of stuff, which is fine. I don't think that it's going to hurt you, but these URLs are going to be really long. So if you had a slug that used to say maybe services before, and then it got changed to this big long thing, then you would break the link. So that's I would start just to see if there's any links, to start clicking on things just to see what happens, especially if it's on the home page. But this doesn't change on its own. So I've got a feeling that somebody there was doing updates and made those changes. All right. So the title again here. Let me go back in here. So the title should be a short summation of what's on the page. The description should be more of a again, conversational stuff. Um, and so and here is again what Google says on the subject. So I'll put that in here. Titles and snippets. So here's the title. Kid made a description. They want to make sure each site has a description, differentiate the descriptions for different pages, and use quality descriptions. These descriptions help out because they'll tell people what they're doing. That you're going to give somebody an accurate. If you notice, one of the big things here they're really big on this, a word keyword stuffing. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but when you have a big intimidating list, it's not even like a technical thing. It's more of a human nature thing. We don't like to see, even this is kind of a big wall of text, right? Uh, what we want to do is have a conversation like you and I are having right now, like we're all having with people. This is all true. I have no doubt that the practice does all these things. But if instead this word sets to something like, because this has information, but what is this actual page doing? Um, well, if we go to the actual library page, Gulfgate Animal Hospital provides them with a full medical library on all types of diseases, courtesy of the Veterinary Information Network. This is 100% true. I would use this one. I would copy this. Now I understand that it's not going to appear for those particular towns or whatever, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be on every one. What we're trying to do is if you have just a wall of text like that, it may not help the search because it's gonna turn off somebody that just wants to find out where is this library. Maybe someone told them, well, we've got this library on the site, or a friend told them, or whatever. But this is preferable because it's conversational. Um, on those pages that I shared earlier, the snippets and all this, a big thing of this of the Search Console help, of the stuff that Google gives out, is that they want usable um, websites that are written for people, and so a big part of that is trying to get the content to um, to be, instead of people writing for bots or people writing to game the search engine, is just to write as though you were trying to connect with human beings, because that's actually what their algorithms are geared towards now. They're getting to that point. So whenever you can avoid, and this is kind of like Mad Libs, where you've got a bunch of search terms and you want to put them in, and it's easier to just list them all out rather than constructing sentences and then saying, well, you know, I'm not going to be able to include every one of these words. That's okay. The idea is, again, to communicate to the people, well, this is what we want. You know, this is what we do, and you've got enough pages where you can do that. So um, again, edit menu. This should be a short snippet of what's on the page. Again, we do this here. So for your homepage, Midtown Animal Clinic, your Sacramento veterinarian, our doctors, you know, it truncates them. Here we talk about this. And the page slugs are important because this is what it's going to appear like on search results. And if you've got a really long one, then it's going to have a really long one appear as well. But the relevance is important, and the conversational tone is important on those as well. Okay, sorry for kind of running long on that one. Does anyone have questions about either of those three components? I think the site is fantastic, by the way. I mean, I know there's stuff that you know, I don't definitely don't want to seem like I'm picking or anything. I think it's actually awesome to see so many communities listed in different parts, and you know, I mean, it really will help people, you know, find it. Okay, so I've got a couple of minutes left, and so I want to talk. I know that we've covered the content on the site, linking the pages so that they, you know, link to one another. We talked about the site titles. If we talked about having the content on there, so if you don't have the content, if you have that content on there, that's definitely going to help. So I'm going to touch on one more thing, and I'm just going to touch on this, and then we can hopefully I'll hear from you folks, and we can touch bases one-on-one. On most sites, we've installed Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools, and if we don't have it, then we can. And what oh, sorry, I know they keep calling it Search Console now. And what this does, it's a way of letting you know how the site is doing. You can check to see if you know, you're appearing for certain keywords or any searches. So, for example, on this search here, it looks like they've gotten 41 clicks, 462 impressions. You can submit things like a sitemap, which lets Google know, hey, here's different pages. If you do not have a Google account for your website, consider setting one up. If you don't have one, or you don't, you know if you do or not, contact me afterwards so we can do a one-on-one, and I can ensure that you do have one. Google Search Console is a great program. It's a free application, and what it does is it lets us see you know, how well a site is doing. We're switching to this new version here. I don't want to, well, actually I am going to go to the old version just for a second. Earlier I told you how this all applies, like how Google AdWords. Yeah, this is still free. This application is still free. Google AdWords is a separate deal. So, but yes, this is definitely free for everyone. So you can submit a sitemap, and I mentioned that, you know, Google will come by on its own and kind of find your web page, right? So did I do this? All right, so here's all the different pages for the website that's appeared, and I know sometimes they act a little glitchy on this. All right, finally a site that's a, okay, so if you saw for a quick second, at the top of the page, you'll see how it just says, and it just flashes. If you click on the cache, see how it just, for a quick second, it says as it appeared. So basically what Google will do is they'll send out prompts, so they'll call the site, and every once in a while they'll do it. And it's, it'll be anywhere from a day to a couple of weeks. If you work on your site and you've updated it, you can actually tell Google, come by and take a look. So I can tell them, hey, take a look at this page, and you can literally tell Google, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to this website, you're going to crawl this link and its direct links, and you're going to go do your work, go out there and dig around. And so you actually can, using this program, speed up the time it takes from you updating your site to Google having the latest version of the site on their index. And so if you don't have that, we can help you with it. We'll be glad to help you out and get that for you, because it's important. We want you to be able to, we want your site to do its best and to show up as high as possible for search engines. Okay, thank you all. Does anyone have more questions? I know that we're coming right up against the wire, so I want to thank everyone for showing up today. I appreciate all the questions and the feedback. It really helps to see some real world examples. Dr. Cole, if you'd like to message me, how to show up on Google Maps. We've got a minute. Oh, the clock just. Google Maps has a lot to do with your reviews. The big tiebreaker is location. The other tiebreaker is reviews. So if I go ahead and I do a search for tacos here, you'll see that Guad, as they are affectionately known here, has 199 huge reviews. People love them with good reason. They're great food. These only have 147. These guys have 60. The location here of the Evetsites office and these places have something to do with it. But another big thing is the reviews. So you can improve your map showing by getting more people to leave kind reviews. We can actually talk about that next week when we do the week after next. We'll talk about directory listings and reputation management. So, or if you want to talk about it sooner, again, give me a call, message me, and the actual name listing, that's also covered by that. That is done via what's called your Google business listing. And the business listing is where you can change it. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. This all has to do with the marketing and the directory listings and the things like that. If you would like to get some information about that right now, here is a YouTube from last week, and that'll tide you over. I kind of touch bases on that, or just message me and we'll set up a time where we can talk about this, one-on-one, and I'll be glad to help on that one. Again, thank you all for showing up. Please follow us on social media. We are on Facebook.com/Evetsites, Twitter.com Evetsites, Instagram.com, and of course YouTube. We'll be glad to help you out. And yes, I will go ahead and update today's. So if you missed part of today's orientation, I will be updating that. Give me a little bit, maybe about an hour or two, and then we will have that updated. And I can also send everyone an email with the updated listings. Thanks again. Appreciate everyone showing up. And it is on there for long term. Yes, sir. Appreciate everyone showing up today, and thank you for tuning in.